Hello, friends, and welcome to the Friend Leigh Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it is a brand new month, meaning it is a brand new series. So I can't remember if I told you guys last week what we were going to do in November, but I'm really excited about this one. I know I say that every month, but I'm really excited about this because I think the majority of us need to learn this lesson. And so we're going to be able to look at this series through the lens of each pillar of the framework this month. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the idea of surrender. It's not giving up. It's just surrendering to what is going on, what life is giving us. It has a lot to do with acceptance. It has a lot to do with trust. So we're going to be talking about all of that this month because it's really, really important. And as the world becomes heavier and busier and all of the things, what our default is to control instead of to surrender. It's a lot harder. Um, I shouldn't say it's harder because it's actually easier. It's actually simpler. It's actually more calming and more peaceful to surrender than it is to control. But our default, the way that we were all, or the majority of us, have been raised, and society kind of tells us that the harder things get, the harder your grip should become. And it's actually the opposite. So we're going to be talking about that all month. And if you guys are watching this live, which I hope that you will start getting into the habit of watching the Friend Leigh Show live. If you're watching, you can watch on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitch, just like Pops here. Hello, hello. Good evening. I'm so happy you're here. And you will come up right on the show like that. So what's nice is you can watch in your pajamas and you're still part of the show. You're just not going to come up on video. So um, today, what we're going to be doing, it's the first week of November. So we're going to be talking about surrender through the lens of health and affection for ourselves. Okay. So for those of you that don't know what the pillars are, it is a 5-pillar framework for us to be able to look for, acknowledge, and notice the happy moments in our life based on 5 areas that we have complete control over, which is funny because now we're going to be talking about loosening that control. But when I talk about control over, I don't mean in the sense of, strangling something. What I mean is we can take action based on these ideas and kind of uh, get the results that we want, or at least get the action out, right? By taking that action. So the 5 areas are health, affection for yourself, purpose, partnerships, and youthfulness. And every week during the month, we talk about the series based on one of those pillars. And the first week, we always do health and affection for yourself because those really do go hand in hand. So what I'm going to do, and Pops, I'm assuming that you can hear me fine, right? I am not wearing that microphone that seemed nice, but for the last 2 weeks, I've been giving me problems. So I think this should be, even if it's not as crisp, it should be better because at least you can hear me. So I am going to assume, Pops, that you can hear me because you're the only one that is commenting right now. So I will just make that assumption. Okay. If you cannot hear me, please let me know and I will make an adjustment, but I think we're probably good. Alrighty, so here are a few of the ideas that I want to kind of share with you guys. Awesome, loud and clear. Okay, thank you so much, Britt. So there's a couple of ideas that I want to kind of share with you guys. I want to discuss with you, and it's going to make it easy for us to have a conversation. So while I'm having this, conversation with you, I want you to think about how it applies to your life and areas of your life in the health and affection for yourself where you're finding that you've got a tighter grip than you may need to. So there are 4 kind of big things that I want to talk about. And one is why surrender is vital for our health and self-affection. Why does this even matter? Two, I want to go through just some really quick science-based, ideas behind why surrender and health are such a massive match. And three, I want to talk about practical ways that we can learn to surrender when it comes to our health and our self-love. And then I have a little, just a last thought that I want you guys to really kind of take with you. Okay. So number one, when we're talking about why surrender is vital for our health and affection, there's a couple things. In the beginning, I told you guys, modern culture, it just glorifies control, overwork, constant productivity, like go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And this chronic doing, it actually creates stress, inflammation, and exhaustion in our body, which makes it harder for us to be able to show up in the areas that we want to do. And so the heavier we control, the less energy we have to be able to do the things that are actually going to move the needle forward. Letting go of control in areas that we can't change allows our nervous system to reset and recover. That is going to allow both our physical and mental health to be able to expand. So it all sounds very counterintuitive. We think by controlling, we're able to really, dig deep and make things happen. But sometimes we just need to surrender. And the big point here is surrendering does not mean giving up. Those are two totally different things. If you give up on your goals, you give up on what you need to be doing, you're not going to get where you want to be, right? So whether that's happiness, whether that's health, whatever that is for you, success, fame, fortune, I don't care what it is, you give up, you're not going to get there. Just easy. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender means releasing the fight against what's happening that's beyond your control. Okay. So when we talk about health, a lot of people are saying, okay, yeah, sure, it's nice for you to be able to say that we're going to look at our health, but I don't have good health. I have diabetes, or I have this chronic inflammation, or I have whatever it is. The things that you have, those are not in your control, at least for the time being, right? So yes, we don't have control over that. So that's where the surrender comes in. The surrender comes in by letting go of what we can't control, and then looking at what can I control? Like, what can I do, take action in that can maybe like steer my health the way that I want it to go, right? So that's movement. That's eating, that's nutrition, that's hydration, that's all of those things, that's getting my sleep. It's all of those things that we have 100% control over, and we get to keep moving the needle forward. And then in the hopes that that will give us the result that we want. We don't have control over the result, but we have control over the action. So the second thing is the science behind surrender and our health. And there's just a couple things that I really want you to kind of keep in mind. One, this was in a study through Harvard Medical School back in 2023. Chronic cortisol, so cortisol is your stress hormone. Chronic cortisol spikes from feeling out of control actually increase inflammation and weaken your immune system. Okay, so when you're constantly stressed out and you're constantly saying, I'm never going to get better, my health is really bad, I hate myself, like whatever that is, and you're stressed, and then you're like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Your cortisol is spiking, and so is your inflammation. And inflammation is like, it wreaks havoc in your body and actually makes your health worse, right? And it also weakens your immune system. So if your immune system is trying to help you, to heal you, to get you out of whatever this state is that you don't have control over, the actions that you're taking by being stressed out are hindering your healing, right? So what that study is really explaining is the surrender part of it is, okay, I'm not going to stress out and like say, okay, let's say you've got diabetes. You've never had diabetes before. And now you all of a sudden have this diet that you can't eat the way that you've normally ate, right? Two people can be diagnosed the exact same way. They can be twins even, and they can have the same eating habits, the same everything. Twin A decides, oh my gosh, well, I've been eating this way for 50 years and now I can't. Well, great. Now I have to have vegetables. Now I have to have this. Stress, 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 right? They're not going to heal as quickly as the twin that says, oh, okay, well, I guess I got to change this up. Well, I did something for 50 years. It's time for a change anyway. Now I'm going to just like eliminate the sugar. It hurt me. I don't need it. I'm going to move on. And I'm going to now take action and eat more vegetables, eat more fruit, check my whatever it is. So your mental part of the stress that you have to do in order to improve your health is actually going to hinder you or help you. And so that's why this surrender piece of, okay, this sucks, but you know what? It is what it is. And I'm just going to do what I need to do. That's why it's so important. The other piece is that there was a study that showed that self-compassion actually reduces anxiety, which improves your resilience and boosts your heart health. Okay. So heart health being one of the number one causes of death, right? And drugs like medication and lowering all the rest of these things. Sorry, see, I'm keeping my chat open so then we don't have what we had last week. And now I'm getting like sidebarred and ADHD brain. So I think I'm going to just put this over because I think you guys can hear me. So I'm going to do this. Okay. So it actually can boost your heart health by having self-compassion and saying, okay, you know what? Here I am. This is my health circumstance, and this is what I can do. This is what I can have control over, and having a very soft, peaceful way of being around it. The other piece is we've been talking about this a lot, especially the last couple months, is about neuroplasticity. So if we can letting go of our rigid self-criticism, it actually rewires your brain for gentler, more sustainable self-care acts and habits. Okay. So when we're so rigid and we're like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Oh, I failed. Oh, I can't. You're not going to change your brain because your brain is going to constantly feel like you're in fight mode. So if you can have reduce that self-criticism and increase the self-compassion and say, hey, you know what? I'm doing really good. I'm trying. I did better than I did yesterday, or I did the same as I did yesterday. If you can keep that up, then you're going to end up being able to have more sustainable habits as you're going forward. The next thing, so that was kind of like a little bit of the science behind it. What I wanted to talk about too is the practical ways that we can surrender when it comes to our health and our self-love. Okay. So there's three things: micro surrender moments. We talk about these micro habits, these micro actions that we can take, because when we say, I'm going to just, change my whole life, you might be able to do that for a day. You might be really good and be able to do it for a week, but it becomes very difficult to be able to do it sustainably for the long term. So by doing things in the micro, you're able to do the micro habit, and then you're able to celebrate it, and then you want to do it again, and then you do it again. And before you know it, you have compound this, and now this is just the thing that you do. This is just the person that you are. So what you can do is you can identify just one small thing that you've been trying to control obsessively over and just allow it to unfold naturally. Just do the action, just do what needs to happen, but just kindly, softly. The other thing is that you can create a self-affection journal. So each night you can write 3 things that you did that honored your body, your mind, and your spirit, no matter how small that is. We've talked about that before. I have the one pager, the happy one pager, and that's your happy reflections. And so you can start your day with 3 things that you're grateful for. And then at the end of the day, you can go through the 5 pillars and you can say what you're happy about that you did, because that is the only thing that you have control over, is the things that you did. So you just write those out. And when we're talking about health and self affection and affection for yourself, those are really important, no matter how small they are. What did you do for you? And then you can do a mindful body scan. This is really, really just kind of, it's not as much meditation as it's really becoming mindful about what's going on in your body. So you just spend 3 to 5 minutes and you kind of notice tension, you notice your breathing, and you consciously release what you can't change. So if you feel like, your shoulders are kind of like standing up and like you don't have any kind of neck anymore because they're just like pushed right up against your ears, you can just soften that in that little reflection as you're going 3 to 5 minutes. If you're like, okay, I'm going to control this. I can't control out there, but I can control this, right? If you start getting anxious and your heart is racing, you can't really control the things that are happening out there that's making you anxious, but you can control the anxiety just by softening it and controlling your breathing and saying, okay, I'm going to just let it out and just surrender to the moment. And then the last thing, so those are 3 things that you can do: the journaling, the micro surrender moments, and then the body scan. And then the last thing that I wanted to say, so we have our book club inside of the Happy School. We're doing the surrender experiment, which is really, really cool. We're going to be meeting on the 21st to all talk about it and how our experiment's going. But the author, Michael Singer, he says, life flows best when we surrender our attachment to how we think things should be. And by practicing surrender, we align with our body's natural rhythms and needs. And we normally get better than we thought should be. So when we're able to just kind of surrender and let go of the shoulds, and it should be this way, and it's not fair, and life sucks, and all of this, and say it is what it is where we are, but I'm going to just surrender to that and just take the next best action that's here and just soften into it, your life will unfold with this beautiful flow. And so I am going to get back to you guys and just kind of see how you guys are doing over here. And then we will have a little chat, and then we will get into, ooh, look at all of this. Okay, awesome. This is my favorite part. So we do this part where we kind of talk about the theme. Then we have conversation. This is going to be gold. I'm super excited. And then we're going to do our question or lightning round to get to know our friends on the Friend Leigh Show. So Ed is in the house. Hello, Ed. I haven't seen you in a while. And so Ed says, recently I heard some great advice. I'm having a hard time here. Okay. Recently I heard some great advice is that we are always in control. We control how we respond. Or said another way, we look at it. The way to look at it is we always have a choice. Choose to respond positively or negatively. That is the surrender. That is beautiful. Absolutely. So that's the whole thing, is that it's kind of that example that I was giving about the twins that both get diabetes. Again, here's a perfect place for me to put in here. I am not a healthcare professional in any way. So if you hear anything on the show that you're like, that sounds like me, please, if you feel like it's going to affect your health, please go to a healthcare professional, whether that's your family doctor or a therapist, and work it out with them, because they know you best. You know you best, but they also know your family history and all the goodness. So this really is a show for entertainment and education purposes. But yes, it is a choice. And, we always talk about happiness in Happy School. And that is just the truth. Happiness is a choice. And we don't always have to choose happy. We can choose to live in the moment that we're in, but it really ultimately is up to us. And it's just that surrender. Okay, so I don't know that that's I think that might be a bot. I think it might be. I'm not sure. I'm going to just put this up here just in case you're not a bot. I don't know. But it says you have a streamer, but because you said streamer and not my name, then I'm going to assume that that's a bot. I'm going to let that one go. Britt, you could probably tell me. Okay, so says, I saw a study with twins and 2 were raised by an alcoholic father. One was a successful businessman and the other was an alcoholic. When asked why their life turned out like it did, they both said, with a father like mine, what else would you expect? Amen. That right there, in a nutshell, is everything that we're talking about. So they both had the exact same father, this exact same upbringing, but they had a different perspective of what they wanted to do with that situation. So absolutely, with a father like mine, what else would you expect? One believed that with an alcoholic father, I will obviously become an alcoholic. The other, well, I had an alcoholic father, so I don't want to be like that, and I am going to, become successful, do the things. Pop says, also, side note, I have a friend from my stream that wrote a book about her dealings with anxiety, and I was wondering if I could share her link. Yeah, sure. Go for it. Absolutely. Pop says, loving the sparkly nails. Are they from Color Street? Yes, they are. Oh, good. Yes. No, I did not get them from Melanie because I used to work with Melanie. So these are still mine, but I will be having to buy some new ones later. Mel, you are the best. Oh, and Pop says, yes, that was a bot. Yep. So there we go. Okay. And there's her link. Okay. And then you guys, if you go over to, I'm just putting up the link here so you can see it. And then you can, I guess, maybe, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it in YouTube because it's over on Twitch. So if you go over to Twitch, you'll see the link for that book. Very cool. And congratulations to your friend for getting that out there. I think it's so healing for you to be able to write a book and get it out based on your own story and, what you have conquered. So, okay, you guys, let's see here. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's see. I'm going to open up Chat.GPT. Let me do that. And then I am going to get the questions. Normally I have it set up, but I did not do that tonight. And then I have lightning round questions. And so we're going to do the lightning round questions for you guys so we can get to know you a little bit better. So here are the 3 questions. Let's see here. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. All right. I don't know. So if you guys are new here, what I do is I put these questions here. The ChatGPT did it because I'm going to answer as well. So I don't actually know what these questions are. So I'm hoping that they're going to be good. So there's number 1. Here's number 2. Here's number 2. And here is number 3. There we go. Okay. So formatting might be a little bit off. That's okay. So let us see here what we've got going on. So number 1, let me put it up on the screen. It says, what is one area of your health where you've been over controlling? How might it feel to surrender there? Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys say about that. Number 2 is, how does your inner critic respond when you pause or rest instead of pushing harder? Oh, I can't wait to get into that one. That one is the crux of why we keep perpetuating this whole idea of control and hustle. And then number 3 is, what small act of self-affection could you do today that doesn't require permission or justification? Okay, so these are excellent. So I will see what you guys are saying. I will answer in the meantime, number 1. And number 1 was, what is one area of your health where you've been over controlling and how might it feel to surrender? So one area of my health where I have been over controlling, what I've gotten back into, and it's so funny because when we feel stressed, we go into that like hyper fixated kind of thing. And I've been looking at my weight again. And I went a very long time without weighing myself. And I've been back on the bandwagon of weighing myself and wanting to have the number down. And, my mother-in-law is getting married. And so we're going to her wedding next week. And, I wanted to have the number down. And it's so dumb. But anyway, it is what it is. And so I have over controlled by checking the weight all the time. And I know for me, what you focus on, you get more of. right? And so I've actually been gaining weight as I've been checking it, because I've been like stressing out about this number. And what it'll feel like to surrender there is just for me to be able to start doing the things that I know I need to do for my health, that I enjoy, that make me feel good, and not worry about the number. And then counterintuitively, the number will go down. So it's so fascinating. Okay, so Pops, hello, you say, number one, probably drinking beer, which hinders my medication. It might feel better to stop drinking altogether. Awesome. Okay, that sounds really, really good. Um, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, if it's affecting your medication, that would be really cool. And you could even just do like a little experiment, you know, you don't have to like give up drinking, although you're probably going to feel amazing and be like, yeah, I don't need to do this anymore. But you just do a little experiment and see what it feels like one day. Just don't do it for one day. Um, you know, or if you normally do it at night, just like don't do it at night and just see how you feel. You know, we put all this pressure on ourselves to like become, you know, sober, and like you have to do this for the whole rest of your life. You just have to do it in this moment. That's it. And then just experiment, see how you feel. Number two is, how does your inner critic respond when you pause or rest instead of pushing harder? So this is really interesting. And so the more that you can focus on, how am I feeling? Like, what am I saying to myself? Because I'm actually getting much better personally about the rest and about pausing and giving myself grace and saying, you know what, I need to just relax and just pause. But it's taken me a very long time to get here. And I still have that inner critic that's like, you should be doing more. Why are you resting? You haven't done enough to deserve to rest, right? And rest sometimes is the biggest action that we can take for our health and for us to succeed in life. So that's what mine tells me. My mind tells me that I haven't deserved it, or that I need to like push harder. But now it's starting to tell myself, you know, good, you need this. And this is the work sometimes. So Pop says, my inner critic is a negative Nancy and gripes about everything. Well, that's true. That's very honest right there. So we get to kind of, you know, help our inner critic and say, that's okay. You're just trying to protect me, and just try to, for ourselves, change the narrative, right? And then number three is, what small act of self-affection could you do today that doesn't require permission or justification? Um, so you know what? One of the things that you could do, that I try to do, is that self-coaching. When you say, so Pops, when that negative Nelly comes up and says you're not good enough, or you're not going to do this, or you're never going to be able to stop drinking, or whatever it is, you can just self-coach yourself and talk to yourself kindly and say, yeah, I get how you feel. Yeah, I get that you're thinking that, but you know what? I'm just going to try something else different now. We're just going to think a little bit differently this time. Let's just see. I feel safe. I feel safe changing this up. We're going to be okay. We are going to be okay. So kind of like co-regulating with that. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, and then Pop says, I should eat better, fresh veggies and non-processed food. Okay, here's the other thing. I'm going to just give you this little tip. And I sometimes say it too. So like, you know, our words matter. And so when you say I should eat better, that doesn't feel good. I want to eat better feels way better, right? Because then it's, oh, I want to do this. This is going to be good. If it's I should do this, you're going to have resistance to it, and it's just going to make it harder, right? It's that whole thing when we were talking about the diabetes twins. That is the way that you're going to look at it, is going to either make your journey harder or easier. And saying I should be eating better instead of I want to eat better is going to feel drastically different, even though it doesn't actually change anything. So you guys, this was amazing. So good. Next week, I will be, where will I be? I don't even know. Next week I will be somewhere. I think we're going to be in Mexico on Wednesday night. So I will see you. I'm really hoping I'm going to have good reception. I will warn you, I may not. And so if I don't, then I will see you the following week. But please tune in because I'm going to really try to be here because I think this is a really important conversation. And so we're going to be talking about surrender, and we're going to be looking at it through the lens of purpose. Okay. Which is really big because everybody thinks that they really have to find themselves and find their purpose and all of that. So the surrender piece is really going to be helpful for this. So please tune in. Please share it with your friend. If you guys are finding this enjoyable, please go on over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Even if you don't watch it on YouTube, even if you're watching it over on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitch, please go ahead and subscribe there, because the more subscribers we have, the more YouTube says, oh, this is useful and valuable. I'm going to share it with more people. So I would really appreciate it, because I really do want to get these conversations out and get more of your feedback, because your conversation with me and with the rest of the people that are listening is so, so vital. So Pops, thank you so much for being here. Ed, thank you for sharing your insight as well. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Oh, here we go. So Pop says, Mel just got home and said, have a great week, beautiful friend. Well, have a good week, Mel. I missed you in the show, but Britt was talking about you and plugging you. So you got a good man there. Good night, Pops. Good night, Ed. Good night, everybody. I love you guys.